Right guys, well as this has clearly become a multi-part thing, I'll just fill you in. I was up here the other day and I was just knocking some stuff out. So what I've managed to do is this one. I've split the electrofrog because all this was done on electrofrog. So I've taken that out. There is electrofrog wiring under there. So I imagine there is somewhere electrofrog wiring. I do need to just check. I think there's one wire right there. This one is for permanent power to here. So that little wire there will control this little set of point blades here. And then obviously we have generating power from here and here. So I'm going to put the other one in there now. And then I have to put in an extra black wire here because of that electrofrog there. There is a red one already located here, which we can do. Need to cut that down. Then essentially this part of the rail is ready for testing. And we will test it. I think, yeah, there is point motors here. So all this will be ready for test. So let's drill a hole here somewhere to put. Oh no, I won't need to put that in, will I? Because there's that one feeds there anyway, so that feeds to that. So yeah, I don't need to put an extra one in there. So that will all be done once I put the black in there. So without further ado, let me get to work. This is the point for this, and as you can see, I have already started it. I just need to put the black wire in. I need to do it to the point motor and then to the track and then to the distribution. Obviously we already have the one going to the track, which is this one here, so I just need to remember which one is that. It's definitely not that that one, as that is your point motor power. And I think actually this point motor is complete, so we could run this one over to the decoder, to be fair, and have this as one of the ones that is in the decode section of things. So it's not going to also be this green one, and it's not going to be this orange one. They all are to do with the actual point motor itself and it doing its job. So I'm just going to put them over there out of the way. Obviously they can run this way, and the point decoder is somewhere under here. So we can run them all that way. That's not a problem. Once again, I need to figure out which side is which here. So we'll really do some proper wire cut this. Now that one. That one. And this one. Alright, and I can't see the letters on that one, unfortunately. I think this end one here is B. Let me just see if a magnifying glass helps. No, because I'm not on target with it. Not in line with it. So I believe that them three are the point motor, and these three are to do with the physical slip itself. So I think if we get the meter out, do that one That one, nothing. That one. That one's got circuit there. And then if I put it across, I do believe it's that shorter red one, that one. That is the common. But that shouldn't, because that goes quite far that way. Doesn't come very far this way though, which is maybe where the problem is. You can get modules that will do it for you, and I think that's probably where we will end up eventually, is doing it that way. So I'm going to take it that this one is the red wire, so we'll stick that one in. If I can find a screwdriver. There it is. Could do with shortening this quite a bit, because obviously it's only going to there. Let's shorten that down. There we go. Right, and then let's put that one in there like so. I need to open that up a little bit more to be able to get it in. It's quite a tight connection because they're both quite fat wires. So it's quite a tight connection. That seems to have done it though, right? So then I believe it's this black one. It's the other wire which goes to that black one that's up there. Which goes to this one here, which needs to have its bus wire added, because it doesn't have its bus wire yet. But we'll take care of the bus wire in a moment. So that one in there like so. And both in there. See, is that enough? Yeah, that's enough. And then finally, that orange wire, which is the frog, out. There we go. It's the frog. Oh, that red one's come out, hasn't it? So that wasn't in very well. Do that one fully. Thin the wires out. That in. as usual, I'll screw this terminal block to the top of the board. And then that one, I can weave it into there. Into that middle one. Yep, we're in. There we go. And then this red one. Oh, what's just come out? Oh, that orange one's just come straight out. And what we can do is we can try, is if we put, that red one needs to go. So I'll go in a bit pear-shaped this here. Let me get a bit closer. Like this red. Right, let's get this red in. Because that one pulls everything closer to the point motor. Right. And this one comes from the track feed. That's now shoved in there. That's that type. Right, so all that's left is this orange one. Which obviously didn't bite very well when it first went in. We will try again. Now, it is a bit on the short side. But that just means that it will naturally be held close to the board anyway. Right, that appears to have all worked. So all we now need to do is put the black wire into over there. So put his here. Grab my wire. Take a bit off the end. There we are. And then feed that into there. So. Then we pop underneath the board and we can see how long the piece needs to be. Take the screwdriver with me because then I can do it all in one go. It is slightly hooked on me. About that much will do it. I don't know how it's managed to become hooked on me, but it has. At the end off. Right, and then we need to feed it. Put that down a second. So what, we'll feed it this way. Through that hole instead. into the connection block. Do that. There we go. And then it shouldn't complain because it's all isolated. But we should have power now to these bits of track. So if we grab my test train, now the reason this is my test train is because it's cheap. Well, it was cheap. Right, so we have no power there yet, which to me shows that that doesn't work. We go to there, do we have power? No, and track power is on. So something isn't giving us power. Unless I've managed to turn the lights off. No, so we don't have power there. So let's just investigate. So first protocol is to thou shalt check for voltage. So go to AC voltage. We have 2 volts. 0.3. So if I test this rail and this rail, we get nothing. What if I test that rail on its own? So we do have power to the layout. If I test that rail and this rail, so our red connection here is what is lacking. And that is because it's fallen out. So let me try that again. And you should see the train come live in a minute. Right, so we now have red and we have lights on the train. And that works perfectly. Just let me clean this bit of track up, because since buying this layout I have never ever used it, and this is annoying because I want to and need to clean inside there and I can't. But we should be able to run the training now. Just double check that there's that break in the rail there. Yes, that needs a bit more work there. And at the moment I'm imagining if I switch this, we're shorting out because this isn't working correctly. we might need to just shifty that point motor over a little bit, or just change it ever so slightly to how it sits. But for now, I'll put it in the middle. It was working, but when I do that, obviously it shorts out. So I need to, we'll just leave that there. I need to just sort this bit of solder out here, because it's not taken for the track. There we go. No problem whatsoever there now. Right, now the next thing we need to take care of is, in this section at least, is chopping this off here. Now this is where careful surgery is the order. Careful surgery, not brute force. Something I'm not exactly renowned for is careful surgery. Brute force? Yeah, I'm good at that. There we go. So now, if we test it, yeah, it stops because there's no power there yet. But the train makes it pass with no issues. Right. So that is operation success. I've got this rail working, that rail working. So we're sort of going into our last few bits now. So I do have feed wires here, red and black, which is correct. So I've got two here that probably just need linking up. Then that will give power to this section here and here, because these are linked. I then obviously also have the point stuff here, which can be linked up, red and black again, which then really give power here. I then need to do some power on this one here, and then that's all this done. However, that's not going to take long, so I think we're going to get to doing this board today. Hopefully. Because I'm not going to be able to do all the electrofog stuff here, because this point doesn't have one in at all. But we're going to get there. So, I'll be back with you very shortly. So guys, I can only go so far, but so this electrofog's widened, this one's widened, this one doesn't work properly yet, but this one does. And I widened just before the camera there. So all this is now powered. So I've tested it with my cheap one. It does cut off there. But that's because the board that it's obviously going to has no power yet. But as you can see, that is now working. So all I've got left is this track and this one. I'm just going to double check that that is not actually receiving power from anywhere else. Because I think when I wired it up originally, I never wired that track in, but it did work. No, there's residual there, 4 volts, so it's getting power probably from like there and there, but essentially, yeah, the track is dead. It's not in back here had power, no. And this one should be dead as well at the moment, yeah. That will be dead until that is resolved. But this has 2 holes here for wires. So what I might do is quickly, because I'm planning on finishing up today now, is quickly, because the holes are already there for that, putting the wire in, because the wire's only got to go to like there, and then having that done. But for now, let me get this train off the track. Be good to get playing again. I do have a plan for down here as well to ease that curve a bit. But I'll explain that another time when we're sort of ready to be looking at putting a curve back in there. So this last one should be nice and simple. I don't know where these wires come out down below, but so they're not going to need to be long. I've got black here. Let me shove black on the inner one, down the hole. I think these got power through the electrofrog, but I've cut one of the electrofrogs. Now, so that's not really going to be an option. Alright. What I want to do is I'm just going to get these both ready and then solder them both in one go, because that'll be easier. So that's that one ready. Let me get the red one. Unfortunately, I don't have any like little sections of red wire, because like I say, this really doesn't have to be long. Yeah, it doesn't have to be long, this one. And I don't know where roughly it actually comes up, so fortunately it's a shove it down and see where it comes. There it is. And then obviously I couldn't do this way if I had it on the wheels, but I don't, so that's not really going to be a problem. Right. Right, so first of all, put some flux on it. Where this flux works, I have to do it like this. Melt it, dip it. Melt it, dip it. Right. Solder. That one with some solder on it. Same with that one. That's that done. Well, I have to hope that that is enough. Feed that down. Bend this wire ever so slightly. Should have done it. It did have them at one point. I can see the bits of solder there from when it had them in the past. Right, they're in, so now I've just got to wire them underneath. And that will put that into order. Then all I've got left to do is this one and this one. That's it. And then it's move on to the easy board, which is that one, the one you're sat on. That is the easiest board out of them all, because there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 power points on that one required. And then the one behind it is the next easy one, which is 2. So nice and simple. So let me go underneath, get this wired up, then we'll give it a test with the cheap loco, make sure it goes up and down on that line. And then if that's all working, we are sorted. Right guys, well I'm back. So I've wired that up and I've just done my little extra bit. So let's put a train on here. Now one of my little extra bits is now going to require soldering, because as I did one of the wires, it snapped off the motor. But one of these points now, just in front of you, should change. It's not in that one. It's in that one. Perfect. So that one is the one with the ground that's missing. Power drive, because I mean this one, obviously the train's got power on there. So it works. It's nice and smooth. Apart from that little bit, which, yes, I see. That should be resolved with a bit of track rubbing. That power's come off now. Yes, that just needs resoldering there. Just a poor connection from me. But the wire's there now. So that solves that. And obviously I've got one more point wired in. So I think that will call it quits for now. This board then, pretty much apart from this one here, which, to be fair, in all fairness, I might leave until this point's done, and then get onto the board that you're sat on. So this board here, which is nice and easy. The power ports are already in at the top there, but I may just move them to the centre, because in for signalling blocks, this is one signal block anyway. But they're up there at the top at the moment. 1, 2 on that side. This one I believe is all down here, so we're going to have in the middle there. So we're probably going to use one of these smaller ones rather than one of these larger ones. But I might use that one anyway. Although that one would be useful for this board, because this board is one that needs a lot of work. However, when I finish kicking stuff over, there it is. We've got a lot to get there first, because that board needs wiring in. That board's nice and simple. I might even just, for the sake of it, for that board, because of how simple that board is, just use terminal blocks, because that one is dead simple. And then obviously they're hardwired over onto here. So for now, I might use that as just one piece. I'm not too sure yet. Make that into one board. But yet that scene, it still doesn't really follow on. From this scene to that scene, it doesn't follow on. So it's a good connection board, but am I really that happy with it at the moment? No, I'm not, to be honest. Or would I rather just a board that it will then cascade over onto this board? Probably. Same with this side, just over, and then, I can have my 2 seating boards. Plus, right, if I make that board a bit bigger, rather than have that scenic board, I might be able to have a bit of a fiddle yard there. But at the same time, I do like that scenic board. And I would imagine there is a way, as it has got a tunnel mouth on it. It was a bridge, but it's got a tunnel mouth. I should be able to make it across. It's just about making these two boards line up, and I think that will come. I'll probably desolder them off again, take this board up and just tweak it, because you see it's got bits on that side, and just retweak it to try and make it butt up properly and lock in. But for now, we've made fantastic progress once again. Obviously, if you've liked this, it's a new channel that goes on with Manc Buses, which is a historic preservation bus channel. Please do give this video a thumbs up and help this channel grow as well. Thanks for watching.